Before you embark on this part of the testimony, 7 Years in Hell, be sure to look up the previous parts to understand fully the powerful and supernatural journey. One day Chameleon was going to launch one of his albums at Victoria Gardens. In Jinja, the concert was to be held in the night, and many people were excited about it and were preparing to attend. But I was not happy because I knew my parents would not let me go given our age and our Christian faith. I had always heard my friends boast about how they knew and had heard about these music superstars. My chance came when I heard loud music on the streets of Jinja, as the publicity crew drove around advertising their concert with very loud speakers mounted on vehicles. They set up their stage at St. Jude's Field. Many people started running towards the field to watch the superstars, and others followed their convoy of jeeps. My mother was braiding my hair, so I requested her to let me go and see Chameleon since I wouldn't be going to see his concert at night. She was initially hesitant, but when I insisted, as many teenagers do, she let me go as long as I went with my little brother, who is 3 years younger than I. It was on condition that I did not follow the convoy of vehicles, since there was a lot of child kidnapping and disappearances going on around that time. I was so excited. We ran towards the convoy and found some traditional dancers performing a circumcision dance, commonly known as Kadodi among the Bajasu in eastern Uganda. We ignored them and proceeded to the celebrities. When we got closer, we saw them: Weasel at the front seat next to the driver and Chameleon in the back seat. Their SUV had dark tinted glass with an open sunroof. At this point, Chameleon could not be seen in the back, so people were mistaking his brother, Weasel, for him. They have a striking resemblance. I knew both of them from watching them on television. I knew Weasel personally because I had met him before at my aunt's house, where he had asked me a lot of questions. During all of the confusion which took place with everyone following this convoy of jeeps, I looked into the glass and saw Chameleon and got excited and started telling people that he was in the back seat of the car. I ran to the Jeep SUV to get a closer look. When I got closer, he looked at me, and the next thing I knew, my soul was moving out of my body. I found myself in a square glass box in the back of this SUV with Chameleon. Then Chameleon stood up and put his head through the sunroof. He called us, my brother and I, motioning us to get into his car. My body could not resist, but my brother helped me and restrained me, reminding me of our mother's caution. Remember, by this time my grandmother had already initiated me into satanic practices. I was already moving in and out of my body at night to visit my grandmother and then returning to my body. My parents were always wondering how I was able to know that my grandmother was sick before anyone else knew about it. Little did they know that I had already started astral projecting, which is coming out of my body and going into the spirit world with my soul. I could not dare tell them. This occasion was very different though. I found myself in a glass cage and I was unable to get out. How it happened. As I approached the SUV which my favorite celebrity sat in, I peeped in through the window and I saw his eyes had changed color. His eyes had changed. They looked like cat eyes. They were yellow or greenish in color. They were very evil looking, like the eyes of a cat at night. During that moment of shock, I suddenly found myself trapped in a glass box which he was holding in his hand. While I was still confused about what was happening, this celebrity stood up through the sunroof and motioned for my brother and I to get into the car. My body was still outside the car while my soul was trapped in the glass box. As I tried to get into the car with my physical body, my little brother stopped me, reminding me of our mother's instructions. I was in two places at the same time. My soul was separated from my body just like I used to do it at night. But this time it was completely against my will, and I was trapped in a glass prison. Ezekiel 13:20. Wherefore thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against your pillows, wherewith there hunt the souls to make them fly, and I will tear them from your arms, and will let the souls go, even the souls that ye hunt to make them fly. I never knew it was possible for a sorcerer to take my soul out of my body against my will, leave alone, capture my soul, and use it to control my physical body. I started crying out for help, but nobody seemed to be able to hear me, because it was my soul that was crying out and only the devil worshippers, who could see and the spirit could see me trapped. My body became confused, and I knew I was in big trouble because I found myself missing and I didn't know how to get back. Weasel got out of the car and jumped into another one. The driver of the SUV I was in turned and started heading towards the source of the Nile with Chameleon in the back seat, and my soul in a mystical glass, cage-trapped. On our way to the source of the Nile, we drove right past my house, where I could see my father and my mother standing at the stairs. Chameleon lifted the glass I was in through the sunroof, so that I could see my parents. I cried out for help at the top of my lungs, but they could not hear me because I was in my spiritual body, which is my soul. By then, my physical body had returned home with my younger brother, so I tried to tell my parents to look at the moving SUV, but they did not understand what was going or what I was trying to say. They drove to the source of the Nile, where they parked the car behind a small forest and took a narrow path through the forest to a place that had boats. He got into the boat with me in the glass box and sailed towards some Chameleon then stood on the boat and began reciting an incantation. He cast 2 eggs into the water and the boat began to sink. What happened next is difficult to explain. I am still shocked and amazed at what I saw. I know most human beings have never imagined that such a thing is even possible. I'll try to explain it the best I can. Something resembling a whirlwind suddenly surrounded the boat and a giant fish swam up from below the waters. Its jaws wide open. Chameleon jumped into its mouth with me trapped in the glass box. I was so terrified of everything that was happening that I fainted. If you are loving this video, please hit both that subscribe and like button to help this message to spread far and wide. Check out the rest of the playlist 7 Years in Hell here on this YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting the Wake Up channel. God bless you.